You know, shopping online can be overwhelming for a lot of us, but today I have 8 hacks or 8 tips on how you can shop online with confidence. Let's get right into it. So first and foremost, when you go online to shop for things, make sure it matches your style, your aesthetic. Just because the it girls are wearing it or it happens to be a trend may not align to your personal style. So make sure you pick things that are authentically yourself, because otherwise you'll be walking around kind of pulling and tugging at things that don't actually fit or don't make you feel your best. And then you'll ultimately just, even if the garment is high end and whatever the case may be, you just won't look good in it. If you don't know what your personal style is, there are some tips to figure out how to figure out what your personal style is. Think about the times where you felt your best. You felt the prettiest, felt your most confident, all the positive things that you could feel. What were you wearing? Sometimes, now, not every time it had to do with something you're wearing, but most likely what you're wearing allowed you to kind of shed whatever insecurities you had about yourself, and then you were able to just be your authentic self, be super confident, and have a great time. That most likely is the start of what your personal style is. Now, maybe you do know what your personal style is, or you just figured it out because I told you some things to look for, but you still don't know how to put outfits together. You're like, I don't know, just because I know what my style is, I don't know what looks good. Tip number 2, look online for style inspo. What I normally do, and believe it or not, I still do look for style inspo whenever I feel like I'm in a fashion rut. You can Google people who look like you. First of all, Google some things that you might like. Like if you know you kind of like maxi dresses or maxi skirts, crop tops, you can Google those and say outfits with, and then the thing that you like, right? The other thing you can do is turn in terms of your body type. And so sometimes I'll look up, best styles for petite women, or best styles for short women, or best styles for curvy petite women, or I do all kinds of combinations. One thing or combination of characteristics that I think are important to me that will probably fit how I look. And then that way you're not looking for example, for me, things that may fit an athletic build, which is kind of straight up and down a column without hips and curves, things that look good on that body type and expecting it to look good on me. So I won't even hurt my feelings and go and look at that. All right. The third thing is know your measurements, because they have sizes. They have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, extra small, small, medium, large, etc., etc. But what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? If you know your measurements, you can compare it to the measurements that are being provided on the item on the website. That way you're not getting your hopes up like, okay, I know I'm usually a small, but this looks like it could fit me, but the cuts between brands, countries, etc., they're very, very different. Even the material makes a difference on how it's going to fall and fit on you. Make sure you know your measurements and compare it to what's given to you on the website. It'll save yourself a whole lot of heartache. The other thing that you should make sure that you check on the website is the reviews and the comments that are provided with each garment or each whatever thing it is that you're buying. There are always reviews that talk about, this fits, it's perfect fit, too small, too big. There's a range typically, so you'll know if you need to size up or size down. Some people even give reviews and give their height and weight. So you can say my height and weight is similar to this person, and they said that it ran too small. They normally wear a medium and they had to size up to a large. That's an indicator to you sometimes that you need to size up when you're buying your piece. Sometimes in the notes, people, that they give on the website, they'll say model is 5'9" and is wearing a small. And so if you know that you're 5'1", a small is going to be way too big or too long or whatever. But if you're 5'11" and it's just hitting the model just right, it's going to be too short or whatever for you. So make sure you pay attention to the website's notes that they even provide about what the model might be wearing, or about the fit, or things to consider about sizing up or sizing down. Sometimes, like if it's a shoe, they'll say if you're a half size, a half size, size up in terms of shoes or something like that. So make sure you pay attention to those notes. The next thing that a lot of people don't know about is observing how the model models the garment. Now, if a model is like curved and hunched and pulling up the garment, right? There's absolutely no way in hell in a natural environment that you yourself will be hunched and pulling the garment, right? So think about how it would look if you were standing straight up and down. Will those elements still show? Like the, hiking it up, it kind of implies that there's a slit. There's no slit. Are you okay with it being straight up and down? Or pulling it a certain way gives you an angle where you can see ruffles and flowers or something like that. Are you ever going to be pulling the garment that way? Or standing like this shows like, some of the space in between the body and the garment, and now it looks cute and you actually have a waist. Are you really going to be doing this at work? No. So make sure that you're looking at it at the model standing in its natural state. And that's how the garment most likely is going to fall and lay on you. And if you're okay with that, then go ahead and buy it. Tip number 6, check the materials and check the care. Now, the material, you probably know from experience which materials work best with you. Like cotton is probably most people's first choice, but sometimes you'll find things that are made with silk or with polyester, and then comes all the crazy care that goes with it. Now, you may love it despite the material, whatever the case may be. You might not care that you have to go and take it to the dry cleaners, but some of them you can't even steam. You may not be able to iron yourself, or the wash is soft funny and you have to hang it. Like, do you want to deal with all of that, right? And then you run a really big risk of possibly ruining it if you don't follow it to a T. So be very careful about the material, because all materials flow and fit and stick and cling and hang in different ways. So be cognizant of that. And then the care, because the care is very important, and you may ruin your garment and it may not fit or look the way it did on day one if you don't follow the care. Number 7, make sure you zoom in for details. Try your best to pan that picture out as big as you can and look for puckering, or the way that the stitching is, if it's single stitched, double stitched, if there's any unfinished hems or seams or whatever the case may be, or buttons and zippers not going as long as you thought. Like, pay very close attention to those details as you zoom in on every frame, because they give you tons of frames. Zoom in on all the parts that are important to you, because you may have broad shoulders and you say, is there enough material here, or is it cut the right way? Or you may be slim chested or big chested, right? Are there darting in spots that you need the darting to be? Because it looks perfect, on the model, but I have some extra, right? So look for the darting where you normally need darting. So zoom in as best you can so you can check for the elements that work for you. And lastly, when purchasing the item, I have this quotient of value versus joy. Now, you've checked all these things. You looked at all the reviews. You looked at the material and the care, and it matches your style, and everything checks out. Now it's time for the price. Are you going to wear that item enough to justify that price? And I'm not saying like everything I'm talking about here. Obviously, everything we pick up is not super expensive, but it could be something as simple as a t-shirt. And the t-shirt could be $30. Am I going to get my cost per wear from that $30 t-shirt, or a $5 t-shirt? You may have looked at it and there's, poor craftsmanship on it and whatever, right? And you say, well, it's $5. Do I feel okay with this probably only lasting me 1 or 2 wears and then being in the bin after that? Now you have to ask yourself that question, value versus joy. Now you look at the value of the item. Is it worth the purchase? If it's meant for just one day, are you okay with it being meant for just one day? Or, with it being really expensive and it lasts you the rest of your life, and it's something that you feel like you're going to pick up for the rest of your life, is that valuable? Is that worth it? So then that way you know that it won't just hang in your closet and create, collect dust and all of that good stuff. You will actually wear it and you'll feel good about the purchase that you made online. Now, those were my 8 tips about shopping online. Shop with confidence, my friends. I think you can do it. Now, what I would love for you to do is tell me about any shopping online disasters that you might have had in the past. I know I have tons of them. That's another story for another day. Thank you so much for watching. Again, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, share it with your friends, because my thought is if you like it, they like it too. Put any comments down below. I'll be sure to answer. Bye.